What's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to Bills HQ, where we talk all things Buffalo Bills and NFL. I'm your host, Julian Mott, and today I just want to recap training camp day one a little bit. Basically, I don't know how long we'll be here. Hopefully, not too long. But I want to start with McDermott's comments. I'm going to start with McDermott's comments. Just a little bit, we'll speak out of context a bit here. He said Jordan Poyer, along with his agent Drew Rosenhaus, um, they are in attendance, which is amazing. We know Jordan wants a new contract and deserves a new contract probably. The Bills are most likely going to give him that. Um, by all indications, especially seeing how Drew Rosenhaus is here right now, it maybe that's going to be coming true soon. I'm not sure, but it looks like Poyer is going to get paid. What exactly is it going to look like? We shall see. I don't think it's going to be anything insane, but I think we'll add a little bit more money on this year, maybe give him more security for next year because you got to remember, guys, this is actually the last year on his contract. This is one of the big reasons why he's looking for a new deal. So, yeah, Jordan Poyer is present. We don't have to worry about him holding out, and his agent Drew Rosenhaus is also here, which is great. Roger Saffold is also um somebody I want to hit real quick. Now, Roger unfortunately also actually was in a car accident, and thank goodness he's here. He did crack some ribs though, which obviously we it can be painful. Thank goodness that's all it was. We know sometimes car accidents can be worse, so thank goodness that's all it was. But he is gonna start training camp on the non-football injury list. Okay. We're not sure exactly how long he's going to be out. That is a setback for the Bills. This is a guy that you're looking to play meaningful snaps, a lot of snaps. Ideally, he's going to be playing every meaningful snap at guard. So you really want him to get those reps in. You want this offensive line to get these reps in early. The Bills had a roller coaster at offensive line last year. 8 of the 17 games they had a different starting offensive line. So this is definitely a step back. Obviously, it's not anything that's gonna hinder anything in a big way, but hopefully he's able to recover soon and get back on the field. Um, so we got some guys starting the training camp off on the physically unable to perform list, the PUP list. First guy is gonna be Ike Butker. Not surprising. Our guy Ike tore his ACL. I'm sorry, tore his Achilles in the New England Patriots game. So Ike is still rehabbing, and it's going to take him a little bit more time to get all the way back. So that's not surprising. Now, this next guy I'm going to talk about is it's surprising and it's sad. Our guy Eli Anku is also going to be starting the season off on the physically unable to perform list, and as as early as yesterday, he was just fine. As early as yesterday, he was just fine. And during a conditioning test, he actually received a calf muscle strain during the conditioning test. This is actually an injury that similar to what Jerry Hughes had a couple years ago, is what Brandon Bean said. So this one's a little bit tough to know exactly how long he's going to be out. It could be a week, it could be 3 weeks. Only time will tell. So hopefully our guy Eli is able to get back quick. Third guy is our man Tre'Davious White, all pro corner Tre'Davious White. He's going to be starting off the season, the training camp on the physically unable to perform list, which is not really surprising. Um, they were extremely vague on the status, on any type of timeline, and we're just not going to get that. And I don't think we should be surprised. They don't want to put any expectations on Trey White. They're trying to protect him from himself. They did say there's been no setbacks. So at every point in which the training staff expected him to be, he has passed those hurdles. So hopefully that continues to happen. He doesn't have any setbacks or anything like that. He continues to just keep building and building and building, and he gets to a point where he can get back on the field. So so we'll see. That's Trey White. Spencer Brown. Now, guys, we know Spencer Brown didn't really have an offseason. He didn't really participate in any offseason anything because he did have a procedure done this offseason. So he wasn't all the way rehabbing, but he was closer to rehabbing than actually having an offseason. And he's back now. He's back. He's 100%. There's no actual limitations on him. He's not on any type of count or anything like that. McDermott was asked if Spencer Brown was behind in any type of way, and McDermott did not want to say that he was behind. He however did say that he did have some rust to knock off. So take at that what you will. David Quessenberry has been the guy in Spencer Brown's spot. David Quessenberry is a guy that's experienced in this league. He's started a lot of games in this league. It's really going to be a battle in camp, and obviously, I expect Spencer Brown to come up on top. I don't expect him to have any issues, but it's going to be an actual battle, and it's supposed to be. That's what the Bills wanted. That's why they brought in guys like David Quessenberry and guys like Greg Mance and Greg Van Roten, guys like that, guys that aren't superstars, but they at least add depth and add competition, especially in training camp. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Spencer Brown responds. And I think he's going to respond just fine. I think he's going to respond just fine. Gabriel Davis. Sean McDermott was asked about Gabriel Davis, and now we spoke in our love letter about Sean McDermott a few days ago, and we said Sean's not really a big rah rah guy, but the first thing Sean says about Gabriel Davis is, "I love Gabe." I love Gabe. I love Gabe too. I love Gabe too. And McDermott also acknowledged that Gabe had a great offseason, and that was a great first step in coming into this new role that he's going to have. He's worked really hard to be able to perform in the spot that it's going to be in. We have to remember the last 2 years he's had about 34 catches each season, so not a whole lot of value, but efficient value. He caught the ball. He's gotten better. His drop percentage dropped last year. Every time he catches the ball, it's about like 16 yards. So I don't expect the with the height and volume, I don't expect his yards per catch to be as large, but I expect it to still be pretty large. And McDermott acknowledged that he's worked really hard, so he can really take advantage of the opportunities that he's going to get this season. Now onto practice from yesterday, the very first practice on Sunday, July 24th. Now the offensive line grouping at that practice was Dion Dawkins. Then we got to remember Roger Saffold being, in the car accident. Get well soon, Roger. But we actually had Cody Ford at left guard, giving our guy Cody Ford, second round pick Cody Ford, a guy to a chance to really try and step up again. This is the first time Cody's really had a chance to really have an actual offseason. We spoke about that with Spencer Brown. Well, Cody Ford actually the last two off seasons has been rehabbing. He hasn't had an actual offseason. Just time for him to get better at his game. It's just been trying to get healthy. Well, he's healthy now. He's had an opportunity to try to get better at his game, and him being a second round pick, they're going to give him every opportunity to succeed. They're going to give him every opportunity to succeed. We'll see what Aaron Cromer says and the type of input that he has on him, and yeah. So Cody Ford was the left guard. Mitch Morse at center, not surprising. Ryan Bates at right guard, not surprising. And then David Quessenberry at right tackle. We spoke a bit before about Spencer Brown. They're going to be easing him back in, trying to knock some of that rust off. And it's a competition, guys. It's a competition. So I expect Spencer Brown to come on top, but that's going to be exciting to see. Now, one of the big interesting things about practice from Sunday is that Isaiah McKenzie was a guy that was getting basically all of the slot snaps. I'm a guy. I was a big rah rah about Jamison Crowder this, Jamison Crowder that, coming to the Bills a year younger than Cole Beasley, and he's had this type of production. And I'm talking all that, and it looks like Isaiah McKenzie may be the guy. Now you have to this is just one training camp practice and you have to take it with a grain of salt. But if it's any indication going forward, Isaiah McKenzie is going to be getting a lot more volume in this offense, and I am here for it. We'll see how Crowder plays in. Definitely, I expect him to get some value. We'll see how Shakir plays in, but it looks like right now Isaiah McKenzie is the guy. Yeah, let's talk a bit about running back. Now in terms of who was up, Devin Singletary looks like was RB1. Looks like RB2 is actually Zach Moss. We spoke a bit about Cody Ford and the fact that his last two off seasons, he's really been rehabbing instead of just trying to work on his game. Well, the same can be said about Zach Moss. I mean, we heard Brandon Bean said that coming into the season, Zach Moss's ankle was still basically messed up. So he's healthy. From all accounts, his body looks right. His body looks great. Looks like he really had an opportunity to work on his body and work on his game, and he looks quicker. He looks a little bit more explosive. He looks like the Zach Moss that he looks a little closer to that Zach Moss that we drafted him to be. So that's really exciting. Now, of course, a lot of people are here for the James Cook talk, and I'm here for it too. And James Cook, while being RB3 on the depth chart, technically, from my understanding, he was involved in some really interesting personnel groupings. Really interesting personnel groupings, specifically in the red zone. We saw a bit of 22 personnel. 22 personnel we saw a bit of in the red zone. We've been asking that question with the addition of OJ Howard and a guy like James Cook. Would we see more 22 personnel, them trying to use these personnel groupings in different ways and trying to throw different things at them to try to throw the defense off some more? One thing I thought that the Bills a little bit the Bills were too predictable last year, I thought at times just a little bit too predictable. So being able to throw some interesting personnel groupings out there and throw them off a bit, I think is going to really work out well for the Bills in the long run. And we saw in the red zone today, James Cook at RB1, Reggie Gilliam at fullback, OJ Howard at tight end, and Dawson Knox at tight end, along with, I believe, Diggs and Gabriel Davis. That's just really interesting to me. And that's now I also heard there wasn't a whole lot great success in the red zone for the offense, but still, you have to play around with these personnel groupings. You have a lot of weapons, and we know the Bills like to use everybody. They like to use as many guys as they can, especially when they know they're going to be trying to play late January, early February. So while James Cook may have been RB3 on the depth chart, technically, he was involved in some really interesting personnel groupings, and I think that's kind of I think that's kind of how it's going to be. James Cook is going to get his touches for sure. It's just going to be in some really interesting ways. So that's going to be really exciting to see. We'll get a little bit of punter talk. Ariza, Matt Ariza, a bit of an inconsistent start, which is okay. He's a rookie. We have to remember, guys, he has been punting for about a year. He's been punting for about a year. So it's going to take him a minute to really get to the level where he needs to get to. Now, throughout the practice, reports are he improved. It got better, and it got to a point where he he was bombing a few. He was showing us why his nickname was Punt God. So that's cool. In terms of holding, I'm sure he probably did fine with holding. I don't really know um exactly what to break down for you when it comes to holding. So I heard Matt Hawk was giving him some tips, which good for Matt Hawk. That's something that would serve him well. Going forward, if he doesn't, make this team as a punter, Matt Hawk, which I don't expect him to. I expect Ariza to be the team's punter. Um, but yeah, so I think Ariza will be all right. High character guy. He's definitely an athlete. I've talked about my favorite thing about Ariza was actually watching his punt coverage. His punts are amazing, of course, but his punt coverage is even more exciting to me. So, um, I think he'll be just fine. Now the punt returners today were Isaiah McKenzie. Not surprising. Tavon Austin, not surprising. Khalil Shakir, not surprising. And Marquez Stevenson. No indications on who did the best on what or anything like that, but those were your returners for the very first training camp practice. Um, yeah, a couple more guys I want to talk about. Terrell Bernard. Now, Terrell Bernard was probably the most polarizing draft pick because of how high he was picked and the path that everyone, let's say, didn't see to him playing. You know, that when Terrell Bernard was drafted, you know, the thought was that if the Bills were going to draft a if the Bills were going to draft a linebacker early, it was going to be a possible replacement for Tremaine Edmonds. That was the thought. If they were to do that, it was going to be a possible replacement for Tremaine Edmonds, who was going into a contract year. Terrell Bernard is not that. So Robert Bernard is not that. If anything, we're hearing all the draft experts and everybody say that his skill set is closer to that of a Tremaine Edmond, or I'm sorry, a Matt Milano. And of course, he's not going to get on the field over Matt Milano. And we know the Bills only play two tight ends. Taron Johnson doesn't come off the field. Taron Johnson is one of the best slot corners in the NFL. But by all accounts, in minicamp, as we go forward, and then seeing practice today, why did the Bills draft Terrell Bernard? Did they draft him to be Matt Milano's backup? No. Did they draft him to be Tremaine Edmonds' backup? No. By all indications, they drafted Terrell Bernard to be a third linebacker. They drafted Terrell Bernard for situations where if you need to have a third linebacker on the field, he's going to be that. If you want to spice up your personnel packaging a little bit, you can do that. If you want to play a little bit of big nickel, whatever, situations where Saran Neal will come in. Because the one place where this man Terrell Bernard is really flashing, and it's hard to as a linebacker, it's hard to flash in the run game without pads right now. So I guess if you're a linebacker right now, the one place you would be flashing right now is in coverage, and that's where he's flashing right now, and that's where we heard he is great. He had a couple plays today in practice where you're like, oh, okay, if this man needs to be on the field, he's not going to be lost, especially in coverage. He had a nice pass breakup against Dawson Knox in the red zone. A nice pass breakup. Reports are Dawson beat him right off the snap. Beat him pretty good too. But the short area explosiveness, which we talked about that with Tremaine Edmonds, the short area explosiveness of Terrell Bernard allowed him to be able to recover. And he recovered quick and got there and really made a great play on the ball and got and broke it up. He had a couple other coverage plays against James Cook, who's been looking great, been looking fast, where he locked him up, was on him like glue. So Terrell Bernard is here to play. He's here to be a third linebacker. He's a third round pick for a reason, and he's really flashing in coverage. Tim Settle, just a couple plays I want to go over. Tim Settle had a nice pick against Case Keenum in team drills. Love to see the big man pick sixes. Wasn't pick six, but the big man picks. Love to see it. And Tim Settle is one of the most energetic guys in the locker room by all accounts. He's a guy that I'm really excited about. A guy that really didn't get a whole lot of opportunity in Washington just because we know how great that defensive line is. But he's going to get opportunities in Buffalo because we know they like to get these guys in and out to make sure everybody's fresh. So he'll have opportunities. He'll be fresh. He'll be energetic. He'll make plays, and he made one today. So I'm excited about what he's going to offer to this Bills interior defensive line. And Gabriel Davis. That's it. Gabriel Davis. I'm like just thinking right now, do I want to go out on a limb and say Gabriel Davis is gonna do something insane this year? I think I may. I think I may. Gabriel Davis is looking insane right now. Did you guys see the embedded video? Oh my goodness. The embedded video is so good. The Bills social media team is so good. I don't know what other fan bases are doing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really paying attention. I am extremely biased like I am with most things. But the Bills have got to have one of the best social media teams in the league. The embedded videos, it could be an HBO Max series. It could be an HBO Max documentary. And I'm a big HBO Max guy. I know the type of quality content they put out. HBO Max is one of the best production studios when it comes to quality TV programming. And that embedded series can be an HBO Max series. I'm getting off on a rant here, but I'm just saying, if you haven't seen that, go to YouTube and look that up. Like, shout out to who does that. But Gabriel Davis in that embedded video, I mean, some of the things he's doing to our poor guy Kyer Elam, who they talked about Kyer and the growing pains he's gonna have during this time of year, not having pads on, playing a bit more off coverage, things like that. Oh, and by the way, going against, Stephon Diggs, one of the best receivers in the all entire league, top three receiver in the league, and Gabriel Davis, who I am thinking about making some sort of bold proclamation hot take about right now. But I mean, Gabriel Davis is just putting it on Kyer Elam. He did a Allen Iverson in and out crossover, toe tap on the sideline. Oh, that was nice. Gabriel said, "Oh, that was nice." Man, so Gabriel Davis, that was just the last thing I wanted to touch on. I know I got into a tangent at the bottom down there. I just love being here with you guys. That was my last thing I wanted to touch on our guy Gabe Davis. I'll keep thinking about whatever type of bold proclamation I want to make about the type of season Gabriel Davis is going to have, whether that's going to be, statistically or some sort of award that he's going to win. I don't know. I'll be thinking about that. Maybe we'll make a whole video on it. We'll see. But it's always nice spending time with you guys. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. I'm so excited about the Bills season. Oh my goodness. It's not even about Super Bowl or any of that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying like the winning doesn't matter. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying like this experience and this journey that we're about to go on as Bills fans, I think is going to be special. I don't know what the end is going to be. I have no idea what it's going to be, whether it's going to be Super Bowl or AFC Conference Championship or I don't know what the end result is going to be. But I think this is going to be a special journey for us Bills fans. Everything is fully back, it's fully open. We have superstars all over the place. The Bills, in terms of the way that they're engaging with the fans, I think is the best it's ever been, maybe. The way that they're engaging with us and letting us in as much as they can anyway, because of course Bean and McDermott, they're extremely secretive. Like they, I'm saying they're letting us in, but on the other end, they may be the Marvel of the NFL, where just hush hush everything. It really is. But I'm just saying, like, they're trying to let us in as much as they can, and there's not a whole lot of gaffes right now. You're not seeing a whole lot of like, I don't understand why they're doing that on the fan side. I mean, I don't understand why they're retiring his jersey or why, just stuff like that. Just random stuff. There's none of that right now. Everything is just harmonious. And of course, winning cures everything. So even if there is some stuff, it may be hush hush because you've been winning. I'm just saying, I think this is about to be some journey, and I'm here for it. I know you're here for it. I'm glad we get to go on it together. If you like the video, go ahead and like. If you dislike it, go ahead and dislike it. If you like this kind of content, if you like talking Buffalo Bills all the time, NFL, then this is the place for you. This is the place for you. You'll wanna subscribe. Okay. Well, I will catch you guys soon. We'll see what days we'll cover. Okay. But yeah, until next time, guys. Bye bye.